Raising animals to eat is the most inefficient, wasteful, and environmentally destructive method of producing food imaginable. This may surprise you, but we grow far more food to feed the animals we eat than we grow to feed ourselves. Farm animals consume 80% of American corn, 80% of American grain, and over 95% of American oats. 87% of our total agricultural land is dedicated to raising the animals we eat. That's almost half of the entire landmass in the U.S. Almost 90% of deforestation is due to our appetite for beef. To date, over 260 million acres of forest have been destroyed to provide cattle with grazing land, and another acre disappears every 8 seconds. The massive amount of crops grown to feed livestock and water pastures consumes over half of the fresh water supply in the U.S. It takes 12,000 gallons of fresh water to produce just 1 pound of beef versus 60 gallons to produce a pound of potatoes. 12 miles of the San Joaquin River in California are now completely dry because water has been diverted to grow crops for farm animals. In some areas, so much water has been diverted from hydroelectric dams that nuclear power plants have had to be constructed to make up for the loss of power. The average American uses just 106 gallons of water a day for domestic needs. But if they eat a quarter-pound hamburger, their daily consumption of water jumps by 3,000 gallons. In the year 2000, the average American consumed 69 pounds of beef and a total of 225 pounds of meat. By giving up meat, you'd be saving over 1 million gallons of fresh water every year. If you added to the price of beef just the water subsidies alone, hamburger would cost $35 a pound. Instead of tinkering with your toilets and shower heads, reducing meat consumption is the best way to conserve our fresh water supplies. Our diet is not only using huge amounts of water, but it's actually depleting our fresh water supplies. The largest source of fresh water in the world will be completely dry in less than 50 years. And once it dries up, the breadbasket of the U.S. will turn into a dustbin. That's the legacy our diet will leave to our children. Eating animals not only consumes half our water, but their excrement pollutes the other half. In fact, farm animals produce 130 times more waste than people do. And yet, not one feedlot or farm in America is required to have a proper sewage system. It's become so bad that animal waste flowing down the Mississippi River has made an area the size of New Jersey totally uninhabitable to marine life. It's called the dead zone. E. coli, salmonella, listeria, and all the other fancy scientific names used to describe food pathogens all boil down to the same thing for the consumer. There's animal excrement in your food. It's become so bad that E. coli is now the leading cause of kidney failure among American children. Modern meat is so burdened with animal waste, you could actually clean it in your toilet. It's safer eating a carrot anywhere but in your kitchen, if meat has been there. Packaged meat now carries a warning label telling consumers to wash everything that's even come into contact with meat. The reason you have to cook it so long is to make sure the animal excrement is safe for you to eat. It's no longer a question of whether there's manure in your meat. It's a question of how to deal with it. The meat industry's answer is not to get rid of it, but to nuke the whole package with radiation. Now, all you have to worry about is getting used to the taste of a mouthful of dead bacteria from fried farm animal feces. We're also depleting our oceans of marine life and setting in motion a trend that some say will result in the whole-scale collapse of marine ecosystems within 40 years. Using sophisticated technology to sweep the oceans with massive nets, we're now taking more fish out of the ocean than can reproduce, and wreaking havoc on the very foundation of life on Earth. The irony is that farm animals eat far more fish than people do. In fact, half of the world's fish catch is fed to livestock. As it turns out, the best first step you can take to help save the oceans is to stop eating farm animals. We're also losing our biological diversity because of our appetite for beef. For decades, the U.S. government had a program designed to totally exterminate wolves in order to protect cattle. Currently, the U.S. government slaughters 1.5 million animals every year to protect cattle. This is yet another government subsidy that benefits a few large corporations. These are just some of the victims.